Today's theme is disposal of removed soil generated outside Fukushima Prefecture, Volume 1. Let's get started. Well, everyone, on March 11, 2026, 15 years have passed since the Great East Japan earthquake.
I see. It's hard to believe that 15 years have passed since then.
That's right. However, I think this is a good opportunity to take stock of the achievements made over the past 15 years, and to identify the remaining challenges.
I think so too. The other day, you also told me about the Interim Storage Facility, where removed soil and waste generated from decontamination activities in Fukushima Prefecture are stored.
That's right. By the way, do you remember that decontamination activities have also been carried out outside Fukushima Prefecture?
Of course I do. But come to think of it, what has happened to the removed soil and waste since then?
Compared with removed soil and waste generated from decontamination activities in Fukushima Prefecture, this issue has received much less attention. However, it is an important issue, so let's take a moment to review it here. As explained in another video, the special decontamination areas mainly consist of the recategorized evacuation zones, where the national government has directly carried out decontamination activities. On the other hand, the intensive contamination survey areas are areas where decontamination activities were carried out primarily by local municipalities, with technical and financial support from the national government. At its peak, 104 municipalities were designated. Of these, 41 were in Fukushima Prefecture, while the remaining 63 were located in 7 other prefectures. After that, decontamination activities were carried out in these areas. Large-scale decontamination was completed by March 2017 in the special decontamination areas, excluding the restricted areas, and by March 2018 in the intensive contamination survey areas. In addition to the effects of decontamination activities, air dose rates have decreased due to natural radioactive decay, reducing the number of municipalities designated as the special decontamination areas from 11 to 10. On the other hand, the number of municipalities designated as intensive contamination survey areas has decreased from 104 to 59. Of these, the number of municipalities in the 7 prefectures other than Fukushima Prefecture has decreased from 63 to 55.
Large-scale decontamination activities have already been completed, and within Fukushima Prefecture, the designation of intensive contamination survey areas has been lifted for many municipalities. In contrast, progress in lifting the designation appears to have been slower in municipalities outside Fukushima Prefecture.
Considering that contamination levels outside Fukushima Prefecture were generally lower than those within Fukushima Prefecture, that may indeed be the case. One possible reason is that the disposal of removed soil generated through decontamination activities has progressed more slowly than expected. I would therefore like to take a closer look at this issue. Materials generated through decontamination activities can be broadly categorized into removed soil and waste. Of these, waste is treated, for example by incineration, at facilities that meet the relevant treatment standards. On the other hand, for the removed soil, there had been no established standards for its disposal for many years after the accident. In addition, outside Fukushima Prefecture, there has been no facility similar to the Interim Storage Facility, where removed soil could be collected and temporarily stored. As a result, the removed soil has remained in decontamination sites or temporary storage sites for many years. Therefore, in this video, I will focus on the removed soil among the materials generated through decontamination activities outside Fukushima Prefecture, and explain its storage situation. First, let's take a look at the amount of removed soil stored in each prefecture. Overall, about 330,000 cubic meters of removed soil is in storage. Of the total amount, Tokaji Prefecture accounts for the largest share, with about 1/3 of the total, followed by Chiba Prefecture, which accounts for about 30%. Considering that more than 14 million cubic meters of removed soil and waste, generated through decontamination activities in Fukushima Prefecture, has been transported to the Interim Storage Facility, you can see that the amount of removed soil stored outside Fukushima Prefecture is relatively small by simple comparison. This is mainly because contamination levels outside Fukushima Prefecture were generally lower than those within Fukushima Prefecture, and therefore decontamination methods, such as topsoil removal, were applied over a more limited area. Next, this figure shows the number of storage sites of removed soil in each prefecture. Of the approximately 29,000 storage sites, about 25,000 are located in Tokaji Prefecture, accounting for around 86% of the total. This indicates that the removed soil is widely dispersed and stored individually at decontamination sites. Next, this figure shows the amount of removed soil in storage by land ownership. Around 80% of the removed soil is stored on publicly owned land, including land owned by the national government, prefectural governments, and municipalities. In the intensive contamination survey areas, municipalities are basically responsible for carrying out decontamination activities. As a result, a large proportion of the removed soil is stored on municipally owned land, which accounts for about 65% of the total volume. Looking more closely at the breakdown of municipally owned land, we can see that most of the removed soil is stored at schools, kindergartens, and parks. Next, this figure shows the number of removed soil storage sites by land ownership. In contrast, around 90% of the storage sites are located on privately owned land, including land owned by private sectors and individuals. This is because the removed soil generated during decontamination is generally stored on the same private property where it was generated. As a result, storage has remained small in volume and widely dispersed across many individual sites. As with the previous figure, looking more closely at the breakdown of municipally owned land, we can see that most of the removed soil is stored at parks. Finally, this figure shows the number of removed soil storage sites by storage volume. Of the approximately 29,000 storage sites, those storing 10 cubic meters or less account for more than 90% of the total. In other words, each of these sites typically contains no more than 10 container bags, each with a capacity of about 1 cubic meter. Considering that there are temporary storage sites in Fukushima Prefecture that contain tens of thousands of container bags, you can see that the storage sites outside Fukushima Prefecture are much smaller in scale.
Now I understand that compared with Fukushima Prefecture, the amount of removed soil stored outside Fukushima Prefecture is much smaller, and because there is no facility similar to the Interim Storage Facility, where removed soil can be centralized, it is stored in a much more dispersed manner.
Right. Especially at the land owned by municipalities, the removed soil is centralized to some extent, for example, at the temporary storage sites. However, you may understand that there are a lot of cases in which the removed soil is stored on private residential properties in a dispersed manner. Next, I would like to talk about the demonstration projects that were carried out for the development of disposal standards for removed soil generated outside Fukushima Prefecture. Let me wrap up my lecture by providing you with the key points. First, I talked about the status of decontamination activities outside Fukushima Prefecture. I explained that full-scale decontamination activities had been completed by March 2018 and that, in addition to the effects of decontamination, air dose rates had decreased due to natural radioactive decay. As a result, the number of municipalities designated as the intensive contamination survey areas outside Fukushima Prefecture had decreased from 63 to 55. However, compared with Fukushima Prefecture, the lifting of the designation has progressed more slowly, and I explained that the disposal of removed soil is one of the challenges contributing to this delay. I also explained that the materials generated through decontamination activities can be broadly categorized into two groups: removed soil and waste. While waste has been treated in accordance with the established standards, disposal standards for removed soil were not established for many years. Finally, I explained the storage situation of removed soil outside Fukushima Prefecture. Specifically, I explained that, reflecting the difference of contamination level, the amount of removed soil in storage is much smaller than that in Fukushima Prefecture. I also explained that, in terms of the volume of removed soil, most of it is stored on publicly owned land, such as schools and parks, whereas in terms of the number of storage sites, most sites are located on privately owned land, including private residential properties. Finally, I explained that most of the storage sites contain 10 cubic meters or less of removed soil, indicating that the removed soil is stored in small quantities and in a highly dispersed manner. Okay, that's all for today. See you in the next video.